and is on
Oh,
generator
wow.
right now. That is the main hospital, I believe, there in Milledgeville, damaged by the tornado this morning. 140 beds there, according to their website.
Wow.
So, hospital damaged early on in Milledgeville by the tornado that was on the ground and moved into our viewing area briefly before it dissipated.
Let me, I'm going to drag this guy back a little bit here, and we'll zoom onto some of those storms from earlier. We'll switch this back over to velocity, and we'll just go over the last couple of hours there. Yeah, that moved right through downtown Milledgeville. This is back on 734. Right there, that blue, where it turned into that blue little dot, that was some very, very strong winds. We'll switch this over to correlation. We'll zoom that out a little bit more. We'll have to drag this guy back. And there was that tornado that moved through, causing a lot of damage to that hospital. I will see if they have any storm reports issued. None right now, but there was that one hail report just to the north of Milledgeville. So we had the hail damage this morning out there, and then that structural damage from at the hospital there. So that's
and for the science geeks out there, the correlation coefficient, we kind of throw that term around loosely. What that is it looks at the size and shape of the objects in the sky. When you have rain in the sky, everything tends to be uniform in shape and size, but boards, tree limbs, even insects, stuff like that that are hoisted into the air by a tornado, those things have irregular shape to them and less of a correlation in terms of their shape. So the radar assigns a value to the size and shape of every object, and if they're all about the same size and shape, it's rain. If it's not, it's something else.
Yeah, and then
when there's rotation, that means there's a tornado and there's debris because the beam is probably a mile up in the sky, and if you're hoisting stuff a mile in the sky, well, it's coming from somewhere. So that's what correlation coefficient is, part of the fancy Doppler radar from the Weather Service that our tax dollars pay for that saves lives all the time. It does.
This is a look at the radar back at about 7:47, and just to the northeast, there's that debris ball right there on the screen. As we kind of play back and forth, you can see it really develop as it moves outside of Milledgeville and then kind of continue just into the western areas of Hancock County. So pretty certain the Weather Service will going to be going out there later on today or tomorrow to conduct their survey to see how strong it was. But like Chris said, they had some structural damage there at one of the major hospitals.
And it pretty much went through downtown Milledgeville, more or less, right?
More or less,
you know,
no, exactly.
Saw it. It's just going to be a matter of confirming what category it was.
No, absolutely. And when we go back to reflectivity, during that time, we'll zoom in to Milledgeville. We'll go back a little while. And as we go through this morning, look at all of that hail, that pink. That's where we got that hail report in of, I believe it was $half size hail at one point. So yeah, very strong storm that moved through between Milledgeville and Meriwether, just outside of the CSRA. This is where we had the tornado go through Milledgeville, and then it continued more than likely through the Underwood community, and then it started to fizzle out as it moved into Hancock County. Right now, we'll do a live scan of the radar. We do have a good bit of thunderstorm activity, especially on the, looks like the McDuffie and Columbia County line right outside of Harlem. They're seeing a good bit of heavy rainfall. That one west of
Harlem is starting to get a little bit of a comma shape to it overall,
It is starting to get a little squirrely.
That might be something to keep an eye on.
Switch this over to velocity and see what's going on there. So there is a little bit of broad rotation going on, so that is definitely something to watch. Let's see what the Weather Service has this severe thunderstorm warning classified as. So it is just radar indicated, so very strong winds being picked up by the radar. That's why they've kind of issued that there. But the good news is there's no tornado tag associated with this, so that's at least promising.
Absolutely, and something else, according to NWS chat as well, and of course looking at the radar and using common sense here, flooding is now starting to look like a threat as well, because if you can do a time lapse for us here, notice how everything is lined up from southwest to, or really west-southwest to east, and notice how everything's moving in that same direction. The same areas are getting the heaviest rain. over and over and over. And this line of rain goes all the way back into Alabama. So flooding, at least over to our west in the southern suburbs of Atlanta, is starting to become somewhat of an issue. So hopefully this line will migrate north or south at least a little bit. Otherwise, that's going to become a big problem.
That's where we get a lot of high rain totals for sure. We've been watching your comments. So Robert is saying they're getting hail in Aiken close to I-20, and we've definitely been watching that thunderstorm by you guys. It looks like the bulk of that is now moved closer just outside of Wagner. But a lot of heavy rainfall, lots of lightning there. And that white is, I would guess that's where we have the hail going on. Let's see if we can pull up some of the current hail size reports. Not sure if we're going to get it to load. It's starting to load a little bit there. Robert, if you're still listening, how big is the hail that you're seeing out there? If you can kind of add that to the comments, we'd love to know.
Good, take a look at the good old-fashioned vills.
Ooh, the vills. We love the vills.
Vertically integrated liquid. That's what we had before dual pole radar. I mean, it can still look at that, but we do have other tools to look for hail now. But yeah, vertically integrated liquid, or VIL, you'll hear us talk. And the green, that yellow and orange there, that's your stronger vertical velocity is what you're looking at here. And the stronger the updraft, the heavier hailstone it can lift up. So those hailstorms form as they go up and down in the atmosphere. And the VIL product there can show that. And actually, if you were to slice a hailstone in half, it looks a little bit like a tree in terms of the rings inside, because every time it goes up, it gathers a new layer. And
it's cool how hail forms. It's just getting bounced around in the atmosphere like that.
Yeah, just thrown around. So when you get the baseball-sized hail like they have in the Plain States, that's a heavy chunk of ice being lifted by the sheer updraft of the storm. Nothing that big here, but we have had or seen indications of some $half size hail with that thunderstorm.
So Robert just commented back. He said, so it's about nickel size hail right now out there just outside of Aiken. So definitely, I would definitely agree with that just by what's happening there on radar. If you're in Wagner, you're going to be starting to see that soon. You're probably hearing a whole bunch of thunder, seeing some lightning out there for sure. Augusta, here at the station, we're already hearing some thunder out there. And we're right off of I-20, the River Watch exit. Harlem really starting to get it a little bit too. Shantae wants to know about Warren County, so we'll talk about you guys a little bit too. So right now we still have that tornado, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Warrenton and the southern half of Warren County. That will expire, I believe, at 9 o'clock as well. So we still have another 8 minutes or so on those warnings. Right now, really quick, near Harlem, you guys are getting hit with a very good thunderstorm there just outside of Harlem. This is actually right by our radar. Let's see how this is doing. The poor radar is right in the middle of it right now, so it's only going to be able to see the Harlem area just because of how heavy all of that activity is. Let's see how this will look if I switch this around a little bit. So it's going to mess with it a little bit. Yeah, but as you can see, guys, there's a whole bunch of heavy precip right on top of the Harlem area. We'll go back to the standard radar, so it makes it a little bit easier to see, and we'll give that radar a little bit of a break. So right between 278 between Deering and Harlem, and then if you go north on Highway 221, that's where we're also seeing a good hail core on that right now. And I want to see if I can do a little inspection here.
And Anthony, while you're doing that, the Weather Service actually is commenting on that thunderstorm in Aiken and Edgefield County. Says at 8:44 a.m., Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm near Aiken Airport, or 7 miles north of Aiken. It's moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Wind gusts to 50 miles per hour and penny-size hail. So it is almost severe. Severe would be 58 miles per hour or greater. 50 miles per hour will still knock over a basketball goal. It will still blow your lawn furniture around. And penny-sized hail may or may not be able to do damage. So if the weather's not too bad where you are right now and you can, move your car indoors and go ahead and save yourself some damage, because quarter-size hail, certainly $half-size hail, will put some dents in your car. And if you can prevent that, why not? As long as you can safely do it. But probably Probably too late for you there in Thompson, unless you just want to get absolutely soaked. And lightning's very dangerous there as well.
Harlem's probably another spot there where it's
yeah, just don't worry about it at this point. But if you live in Waynesboro, over toward you know, the screen there, downtown Augusta even, you know, not too bad right now, just some light rain.
I know folks, especially in the Augusta, North Augusta area, remember earlier it was either this past summer or last spring where we had that hail event. And I just remember everyone sending in those videos of all the hail just going through their pools. It looked crazy. So if you're getting flashbacks to that right now, put the car inside if you can, have the garage cleared out, pull it in real quick, or put it underneath the carport just to protect it. Right now, downtown Augusta, not the heaviest rain going on. That rain is really in Columbia County with a whole bunch of hail going on from the I-20 exit, the Appling exit, all the way down through Harlem. Grovetown going to be up next. And actually, speaking of Grovetown, let's see if we can get that camera up. In the Augusta North exit. Let's see, Chris, if you could pull up Web 2 and pull up the Grovetown camera.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be there, that guy.
All right, here we go.
I'm going to try to get up the view from Grovetown because...
Pardon me while I trial and error here. There's the Grovetown camera. You wanting me to look off toward the west or?
Whatever you're seeing, whatever you think has the best view. I'm going to pull this up on screen so everybody can see too. So there's a live look right now, guys, from our Grovetown camera. Now, what you can also do if we keep going, you know, back and forth between all these cameras, go on our First Alert Weather app, and you can actually scroll down on the home page, and you will find all of our cameras. So you can see the weather out there. So while we're bouncing around a little bit, go on our app, and you can check out all those live camera views. So we're going to keep a close eye on all these storms as they're moving through. Yeah, Grovetown just getting slammed right now with some heavy rain. Definitely a lot of wind out there too. That's looking, yeah, back toward the exit there. Very, very wet Sunday morning for us. And you can see even looks like some ponding there on Lewiston Road. So definitely a lot of rain going on.
Those are some dark skies.
Those are very dark skies. Chris, while you're messing with the camera, I'm going to go back to radar and see if we can pull up the precipitation rate and just show the heaviest of the rainfall that's going on. So yeah, there you go. Check that out, guys. So those are precip rates. Let me get the...
Oh, that's got to be 8 or 10 inches an hour in some spots.
Yeah, very heavy rain for sure. About 2 inches.
The purple here.
Yeah, the purple. Let's see. Let's go over just across the Savannah River. A couple good ones there. So this is precip rates like 2 inches an hour. So that is very, very heavy rainfall. That will lead to ponding very quickly. And if I loop this over the last half hour, you'll be able to really see how that's moving essentially over the same spots.
Yeah.
So you're just getting rain after rain after rain. That's going to lead to some very, very heavy, very
and if
high
that
rain
lines
totals
up
there.
across parts of downtown Augusta and some of those flood-prone areas, that could be bad news. Right now, that heaviest rain staying just away from those areas, it looks like. That would be good. So, but yeah, notice the line here, a little bit broken. You can kind of see it based on the rain rates there. That can be a bad thing on a day like today because where you get the broken segments in a line, that's where those rotating thunderstorms can form, even in a squall line like this. So still something to watch for. When I got here at 4 o'clock this morning, it was little clusters of storms we had over in Alabama, and that was when I knew, oh dear, this is bad news because those are supercells, and they have held together, but they've kind of merged into a long line. And for the most part, that is a good thing when you're talking at least about tornadoes and the fact that it's not moving perpendicular to the orientation of the line. Hopefully that minimizes the winds a little bit too.
Yeah, the wind threat may not be, that's some good news for sure.
Yeah.
If you have all that rain kind of lined up, that'll help kind of dampen down the winds a little bit versus, you know, your discrete individual cells. I think I wouldn't disagree there at all, Chris, with that flooding threat. As you actually...
yeah, I don't like that look right there at all.
If you look toward, I'm trying to see if I can find, oh, and it looks like they did do a new severe thunderstorm warning for Aiken County. So we were talking about that cell in near Wagner. That has now started to move and develop a little bit more. And looks like it might have gotten enough wind and hail threat to
I
qualify
think they may
that.
be issuing these largely for hail.
I would agree with that for sure, because I mean, we've definitely seen the only solid rotation that we saw this morning was, what was that, Chris? Just earlier this morning with that one tornado warning, and everything else after that has had just a lot of that hail threat to it.
Yeah, it certainly has. And that new warning, let's see, yeah, make sure I have the right warning here. And let's see, at 8:58 a.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 11 miles northeast of Aiken State Park, or 16 miles southeast of Batesburg and Leesville, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and quarter-sized hail. So hail and wind are definitely going on here. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Pretty standard language in terms of severe thunderstorms. Pretty basic there, but no indication right now of any tornado or any rotating weather like that. I am noticing on the last radar vantage point we were looking at, flood warnings, flash flood warnings are now in effect across the strip of Alabama through Montgomery, Alabama, and even the southern suburbs of Atlanta as the rain continues to mount. And I would definitely venture to say if things don't change, those flood warnings are going to be extended eastward and into our area as well. So, yeah, severe thunderstorm warning, that one goes until 9:30, and it does include...
Hey, Lauren, if you can hear me back there, can you switch over to Max 2 for us? It looks like our main Web 1, main Max computer here is frozen on me. All right, thank you so much. Keep going, Chris, I'm sorry.
Poor guy's overworked a little bit this morning.
There's a crazy Sunday morning for the computer.
It has. We're not used to this morning time severe weather, but when it's 70 degrees, when I walked out the door at 4 o'clock to come to work this morning, it felt like July outside. And I was like, oh,
it's one of those things where if you walk out and if it feels sticky, if we're expecting storms, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be an active day for us. Now, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This does include downtown Augusta as well as downtown Aiken. I'm working on right now to get the actual warning up here for you guys. So that will go until 9:45. That is just radar indicated. And it does have, I'll read off the warning here. So a severe thunderstorm that was over Grovetown is moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. It will have the possibilities of winds gusting to 60 miles per hour, as well as quarter-size hail. Some of the impacts there, of course, when you get hail that big, damage to vehicles is definitely going to be something to worry about, but also having wind damage to both trees and that taking out power lines. And that does include the downtown Augusta area, Fort Gordon, anywhere inside of Richmond County, northern half of Richmond County, excuse me, as well as downtown Aiken, a good majority of Aiken County, southern sections of Edgefield County, and the southern half, a good majority actually of Columbia County as well. So we do have a good bit of active weather over the metro areas and more than 100 strokes of lightning out there across the northern half of the CSRA. So it is an active morning for us for sure. 111 strokes of lightning outside right now.
And it's hard to believe that Christmas was 3 months ago yesterday, but this actually is pretty normal. We're getting into severe weather season. Traditionally, late March, April, and early May is the core of our main severe weather season each year. So we're kind of getting an early start this morning with some classic spring severe weather coming in here. This is part of a cold front. This time of the year, the fronts have a hard time getting through the area, so they kind of stall out. And when the upper level winds line up parallel to that frontal boundary, the front's not going anywhere. And that's where you get a stationary front. And wow, when you get all this moisture coming on top of that front, you get a train of thunderstorms, and there's enough instability and rotation as you go up in the sky that we have had the rough weather and increasingly the flood threat starting to take hold of the area as well.
No, absolutely. Here's a live look right now. The 13th Street Bridge, we just got Dawn from North Augusta said that there's some pretty active, nasty storm out there. Now, we are going to continue to watch these cells develop as we go through pretty much the rest of this morning. So this is going to be something that's only for an hour or so. It's going to be a good majority of our day. I do want to focus there on North Augusta really quick. This is within that severe thunderstorm warning, so we're going to be keeping a close eye on it. And we're talking about more nasty storms that will be moving into the Augusta area. Let me see if I can get. It's going to be within the next 15 or so minutes for those between Augusta and Grovetown, and then downtown North Augusta, and then Aiken. Also seeing a pretty nasty little storm out there right now. Let me see if I can get a good sense of what's going on. Chris, what was that ding out there? Let me check. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's coming from your computer, so I don't know exactly
I thought you were standing next to it.
which place to look at on your computer. But yes, 9:04, that's pretty much right now. Tornado watch continues for Baldwin, Bibb, Bleckley. Let's see, that's not us. Let's see.
Okay, so it looks like they just kind of continued that tornado watch for the same county. So Hancock, Washington, Johnson, everybody else is still under that severe thunderstorm watch. But if you look off to the west, they do have flash flood watches out there as well. So that will be something that we'll have to think about as we go through a little bit later on this morning and into this afternoon. This is lined up one by one. If you go from Columbia all the way down through Augusta, continuing into Milledgeville, and then through Griffin, Georgia, that is just lined right up, and that's all going to be moving over us. That is going to be something that can cause some concerns a little bit later on. Just look how much that is just right in a line there, Chris.
And you see those darker red spots indicating just heavy rain, but they're kind of just speckled along that line, and some of them have a little bit of a comma shape to them. In that comma shape, that little mini bow on the radar, there's one south of Eatonton. Just ahead of that, that's where you're going to have some gusty winds. Right ahead of that line there, Eatonton, between Eatonton and Milledgeville, just outside our area for the most part. But along that line, you have these windy spots along the line that resemble a comma, and usually a dark red comma because you have heavy rain and a heavy thunderstorm.
Yep.
So that's where that threat, that small threat for more isolated tornadoes could come from, because those usually are formed because of at least some rotation there in the thunderstorm.
And we got I'm looking at this on radar here too. So this is using the radar in Harlem. So we have a very good, almost kind of, I would say almost bow-like echo over Grovetown right now. So I want to switch over to the Grovetown camera, and I'll change the label on this to say Grovetown. And there you can see some very wet conditions there in Grovetown. We'll move the camera around. Looks like we got some, I'll zoom in on Lewiston Road a little bit here, and it looks like we got some pretty good water on the main road there. Yeah, there is definitely a good bit that they're driving through right now, especially in the construction zone. You never want to drive through water that you can't see, especially if it's very deep.
And the reason for that is the road washes out. You know, it looks like 1.5 feet deep, which is too deep to be driving through anyway, by the way. But it looks like it's 18 inches deep, and if the road's still there, it is. But if the road has washed out along a bridge where there's a creek, you don't know what's underneath that water, but you only get one chance to make one mistake. And that's the number one weather killer, is flooding. So if you encounter a flooded road, absolutely, for any reason, do not go across that, because you won't realize you messed up until it's too late.
Yeah. We're getting some more reports in here. Emily out in Grovetown is reporting some hail to us. Emily, thanks for the report. Dime-size hail there in Grovetown. We're also getting reports of some hail in Evans. This is by Evans High School. So let me pull that up on the map there. We'll go back to radar, because we are going to get just these more pockets that will continue to produce some of these stronger little cells here. So Columbia County, let's go into Evans. Yeah, definitely seeing some of that red on the screen. Guys, thanks so much for these reports. It's very helpful. Martinez, Jackie says lots of thunder and lightning, heavy rainfall going on. There's definitely going to be a lot of heavy rain involved with this. And then we get any of those winds as well, and that could cause some tree limbs to come down, which could cause some scattered power outages as well. We'll zoom in on this a little bit more.
Do you have that flash flood watch that has been issued for our area now?
Let me pull that up right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
They just really have put it out.
Okay.
According to chat.
Sometimes it takes a second to come through, but I will.
That's the advantage of Facebook Live here.
You guys are getting the latest.
You get it first. You really do.
You get it before the computers do. How about that? All right, we'll go, while we're waiting for that to pop up, we'll go back to radar really quick. And
yeah, I'll just read you the statement from the Weather
Chris.
Service. A stationary frontal boundary will remain situated across north and central portions of Georgia through tonight. Oh, this is from the Weather Service. Okay. So I do think that is actually the same watch. So I was in the Peachtree City chat, not the Columbia chat.
Okay.
So pardon me for that. False alarm a little bit there. It's not a false alarm that we need to be on the watch out for flooding. They just have not issued the watch
very true.
yet, but it may be coming. But for now, the area, Hancock County, pretty much the only county in our CSRA counties included in that for the time being. But as you can see there, a lot of rain is falling and a lot more is on the way.
And we got another report, Ashley. Lots of hail going on in the Harlem area too, and we were seeing that on radar. There was that very good hail core that moved through Harlem and then moved into the Grovetown area. Now that system is getting past Grovetown, getting closer to Martinez. Fort Gordon likely seeing some very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning going on. Downtown Augusta also picking up on that very heavy rain and maybe not even really up, some small hail kind of thrown into the mix as well. I'll take you outside. Let's go outside to downtown Augusta, see what we can see here. Well, just like what you'd expect, the skyline is there off in the distance, but it is pretty hard to see. That's a good sign. It is pretty hard to see. Let me zoom out on this a little bit more. Well, actually, no, I'll switch this to Walton Way. So this is going to be looking at Walton Way and 15th Street here in Augusta. Give the camera just a second to spin here. Lots of heavy rainfall going on right now. Jackie says dime-size hail in Martinez. Jackie, thank you for that report. And if you guys can safely take pictures of any of the weather that you're seeing, again, the keyword there being safely, we would love to see those. What you can do is download our First Alert Weather app. You can scroll through it, and actually there's a little tab on the bottom of what will be on the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to take pictures and submit them directly to us right from your phone. So here we go. The camera finally started to wake up here a little bit. Zooming in there, that's right at the CVS there at Walton Way. So very heavy rainfall going on right now. It's actually kind of hard to see with everything kind of getting juggled around a little bit. Looks like the internet on the camera, the connection there might be going down. Let's switch this back over to Grovetown. Looks like the connection there is still pretty good. In the construction zone, Lewiston Road, we definitely have some ponding going on right now. We'll zoom the camera out a little bit more. But it looks like that heaviest of the rainfall has moved past Grovetown and has moved through looking more toward the Augusta area. Let's go out to North Augusta. Yep, they're definitely getting the rain right now. There's the 13th Street Bridge downtown there off in the distance. Very, very heavy rainfall as we take a live look from our SRP Park camera. All the tents, everything's getting ready to set up for tournament week, and there's some very gusty winds out there. There's a live look at the amphitheater, very wet greenway on this Sunday morning. Let's see if this is our Beach Island camera. Sometimes we can get some pretty cool views from here. Spin this guy around a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a good shelf cloud, but there's a lot of rain that's going to be kind of getting in the way here. Sometimes it can be pretty hard to see. We'll take a break at the cameras. I want to go back out to radar. Stacy also reporting hail in Evans. Stacy, thank you for that.
And one note on the hail reports. When you report hail size, just a tip for you, and this is from the Weather Service. You know, we hear talk about pea-sized hail, but what kind of pea was it? was it a chickpea or was it? So it's same thing with marble size and some of those traditional terms, because marbles come in different sizes. So instead, compare it to things that have a fixed size, like a coin. Dime size, great report. Quarter size, baseball size, all baseballs are the same size, or at least for the most part. But more vague terms of objects that can be different in size, not quite as helpful, still very helpful. They're all helpful. We appreciate your reports, and you guys are doing a great job with this. But in storm warning classes from the Weather Service, that is one thing that they will teach you and encourage you, is to use coins or ping pong balls or something like that are fixed size, and that really gives you a very good idea.
Yep.
If you take a picture, maybe put the hailstone next to an object that you have, and that gives you the relative size there in the photo. But upload those to our First Alert weather app, and that is very helpful to us. We pass it along to the Weather Service, and that helps them with their statistics to verify warnings. I know I've reported severe weather before as a citizen in the past, and they also take note of the size of limbs in your yard.
So there's a kind of good little
there it is,
representation
right there
for you guys. So we're talking about baseball size hail. That's hail. That's big hail. That's
too big.
That's too big. That's that's going to cause some damage. That's 2 3/4 in diameter. Some of those other ones that we mentioned, maybe not necessarily doing a P, just because that can be a little bit vague for the
We'll
Weather
take
Service.
it. Personally, I know what a marble looks like, and I
Yeah,
get the
no,
technicality.
exactly.
I just remember a guy teaching that class, and I was like, that's a good point.
The Weather Service likes to be as specific as possible. That's way they can do it in their report. So yeah, I think that's a good point, Chris. Sticking to the coins and everything. So dime size, penny size, nickel size.
And the other thing, hailstones are typically not perfect spheres.
No, especially some of the bigger ones. They actually can be in really interesting shapes. It looks like an alien looking thing, because it's just freezes in certain ways.
Yeah, a lot of times the hailstones collide on their way down. They stick to each other, and you end up getting this clump of ice that's rather large if it's the size of a softball. But hopefully none of that today.
And hopefully none of that landing on anyone's car, because that's just I'm just getting anxiety thinking about that. All right, we're getting some more reports there. Jennifer out in Martinez and in Evans also reporting some hail that is dime size hail. Tiffany, we will definitely post that chart to Facebook. I'll take a screen grab of that. Let me go back to that really quickly. I'll put that back up on the screen for you guys to see if you guys wanted to take a little screenshot there. Let me find that. All right, here it comes. So there you guys go. I'll screenshot this right now, and I'll post this when we get a second here.
In case you're wondering what severe weather hail is, that actually changed maybe 10 years ago or so. It used to be nickel size was severe hail, but they found that was so common, especially in severe weather prone areas, that it was no longer even useful to people, because you were constantly putting out a severe thunderstorm warning. So about 10, maybe 12 years ago, they actually increased the threshold to quarter size, which is a little bigger than a nickel.
Yeah.
And now that's the threshold for severe weather. But they found that nickel size hail, I guess, doesn't really do as much damage to warrant the...
And if it's very common, they're just going to be getting a million different types of reports.
People get to where they don't hear it. So thunderstorm warnings, the goal was to actually issue less thunderstorm warnings, because so many were getting issued because of nickel-sized hail that they increased it to quarters. And I don't know if it's made a difference or not, but random fact for you.
There you
that
go.
happened about 10 years ago or so, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the warnings right now. So we still have severe thunderstorm warnings for both the downtown Augusta area, going through downtown Aiken, a good majority of Aiken County under those severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll pull up the actual warning report itself. That will continue for the next 20-ish minutes or so. 9:45 is when that will be expiring. And we talked about that hail size there. This will have the potential for hail to get around an inch in diameter. So that is a good chunk of hail.
And an inch is the size of a quarter.
Yep, so there's your quarter size hail.
So it's a minimum. It's a low-end severe thunderstorm.
It's
the
on
wind's
it's that
right
threshold.
there on the threshold.
Yep.
The hail right there on the threshold. They may even be conservatively assuming it's an inch. But either way, tons of heavy rain, lightning. They don't issue thunderstorm warnings for lightning. I get that question a lot. And the reason I have literally gotten from the folks that issue warnings at the Weather Service is thunder is your warning when it comes to lightning. Although I would argue thunder comes after lightning. But
that's true, because speed of light is faster than the speed of sound. So.
Oh, that's not how I knew it. I watched the movie Cars.
Oh. Well,
Lightning McQueen.
I know. I love
Hicks.
Cars, and that I don't know.
Sorry, I had to break it up with a little.
That was fantastic.
I
love that. Thank you for that, Chris.
Thunder comes after lightning, and never thought of it.
I was in weather nerd mode, and I was just thinking, all that kind of stuff. But
sorry, I'm a dad. I can't resist from
that was awesome. That gets a good clap thrown in there. A little bit of humor on the Sunday morning. You can't go wrong with that. For
Absolutely.
Sure. All right, and again, guys, if you are seeing any hail out there, if you can take pictures of it safely, we would love to be able to show that on air with you guys. You can do that right on our app, and that will send us an email when that comes through. So we would love to see that. Right now, I don't believe we've gotten any yet, but again, if you're able to take pictures, or if you can even comment those pictures on this Facebook Live post, we'll be able to share those a little bit later on this evening for some of the later newscasts, and of course, we'll be sharing that around social media. We'll zoom back into the Augusta area. I'm hearing a lot of dings. It looks like Chris, you called it from before, so they did issue a flash flood warning. This is from Thompson all the way through downtown Augusta. This actually just came through from the National Weather Service. Let's pull this up here. So, excuse me, it's an aerial flood advisory. Not a flash flood warning. That will continue through about 11:15 this morning. So there is a lot of rain out there, guys, and we are expecting more. Let's take a look at what we've seen so far over the last 24 hours as far as rainfall goes. We'll let this load a little bit. And there we go. All those where we start to see green on the map, that's where we're getting between 2 and 3 inches of radar estimated, at least. And that's important, radar estimated rainfall. So about 2.5 inches. This is northern sections of Columbia County, so closer to the Appling area. Thompson, let's see what you guys have gotten so far for rain. Close to 3 inches so far. Then we continue on the Hancock-Warren County line, that's near 3 inches. And then, of course, we did see between Eatonton and Milledgeville some hail out there before, and rainfall totals close to 4 inches. So a lot of rainfall out there. We're going to continue to watch the Weather Service as they issue some additional warnings out there, but aerial flood advisory in effect for Thompson, the Thompson area, McDuffie County, Columbia County, Edgefield County, the sliver of eastern Aiken County, as well as Richmond County. So where we've seen the heaviest rainfall so far this morning, that's where they have that flood advisory, and they will likely kind of continue to add to that. Want to go back to Hancock County, the Sparta area, the Mayfield area. You guys are seeing some heavy rainfall, likely some small hail there. And then as we continue western areas of Hancock County, just coming outside of Eatonton, they're seeing a good bit of heavy rainfall right now as well.
And I was just reading over that aerial flood advisory that was just issued, and they estimate 1 to 2 inches of additional rain could fall over the same areas that we just showed you have had, what was it, around 2 inches
Around
already.
2 inches so far, yeah.
3-4 inches of rain in an hour or two will certainly cause problems.
And what's key here too, so this is over the last 24 hours, so not just from today. Some folks got a good bit of rainfall yesterday morning as those storms moved through. So in some spots, the ground was still pretty wet, and now you're just going to add more and more rainfall to that. So that can cause some issues there.
The ground is very, very wet. Just side note, you probably don't care about my landscaping that I did at my house, but you may care that when I was digging a hole to plant a couple of trees last weekend, the hole filled up with water.
Yeah.
I mean, the ground was just so saturated, I could barely dig the hole because I kept having to remove water. So when you take this kind of rain and dip on soil that is that wet, and then of course we had the rain yesterday too.
Well, when I built, so in my backyard, I live on a hill, so I get all the wash from my neighbors coming from the top of the hill. So I installed a little French drain a year or two back, and I remember when I was digging that out, It was in February, there was a lot of rain going on, and like you said, as I just dug the hole, it just filled with water. So the ground can be very, very wet. We're still in early spring, so the vegetation really hasn't completely taken off yet. The grass isn't growing as fast yet. The trees are starting to wake up a little bit, but the ground doesn't absorb that water. The vegetation doesn't absorb that water as fast as it would, let's say, in the next month or during the summer. So the ground stays wet a little bit longer. And it looks like we're getting a couple more dings. Let's see if they've updated anything. So it looks like some good news here. So they got rid of the severe thunderstorm warning that was over downtown Augusta. That is now just for Aiken County as well as Edgefield County. So downtown Augusta no longer included in the severe thunderstorm warning. We still have that aerial flood advisory in effect. That will continue through the next few hours, but the most significant storms are now pushing into Aiken County on the South Carolina side, and we also don't want to forget about Wagner. You guys still have that severe thunderstorm warning, although Wagner looks like you guys are finally getting a chance to calm things down a little bit more. The bulk of that now moving into Lexington County. And then just south of the Columbia area. But I do want to focus, so Thompson, you guys are seeing some very heavy rainfall. I'll go back to our Grovetown camera in a second. I want to switch this around and see if we can kind of get a good view. Looks like actually not a bad view there at Grovetown.
I like the view on, oh, where'd it go? There it is. Let's see the camera I had. Okay, we're not on that one anymore.
Which one did you want to go back to?
Well, the previous view of this one, maybe
This guy?
This off in the distance. Is that fog? Maybe?
That might just be like the low level.
It could be the hail that's fallen. That's causing the steam fog above where the hail fell.
That's very true, because this is looking.
And see the fog over the river there. That's where the ice cold. I think that's the river. Looks like a body of water.
This is actually looking, I believe this is looking toward Aiken. So I believe this is one of the big ponds that are out there between Beach Island and Aiken. But yeah, no,
I do see the steam above the water there. That's where the ice chunks fell in, cooled off the water, and you get a steam effect, just like the Savannah River does on a cold morning. Yeah, right there. So no doubt there was a significant hailstorm there. I was just noticing those very low
it's very
likely fog or something forming in the wake.
It's an interesting perspective just because this camera is so high up there. This is 750 feet up, so it gives us a cool little vantage point from this height. This is also, we're looking toward Aiken, so this is still looking at a severe thunderstorm.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I'll zoom this out all the way. It's a little bit hard to tell, with the water on the lens and everything, but in general, yeah, very low visibility. Oops, in that area. Let's see if I can go over. It could even
be like a gust front.
That's true too. No, that's true too. Looks like the heaviest of the rain has moved outside. I'm trying to see if there's any cool clouds to look at.
Don't think the Green Jackets will be playing anytime soon.
I think they're a little rain delay.
Not today
there.
Anyway.
Look at that
Not
ominous
this morning,
looking sky,
like they had a game.
Yeah. Let's go to, see if we can go back to Grovetown. I want to look west a little bit. Thompson was dealing with that one storm right now. Ooh, some ominous skies for sure. I'm trying to see if sometimes what we can see on these cameras is a shelf cloud, and that indicates some stronger winds that'll be going on too. And if we see, like the craziest clouds, sometimes if we get some of those little, the word of the cloud just escaped me.
Mammatus?
The mammatus, thank you. That'll indicate some.
The little pouch clouds.
The little pouch, yeah. That'll indicate some squirrely weather too. Mm-hmm. Oops, I'm trying to, the camera's being very sensitive on me this morning. So there you go, looking toward the west, that's I-20 there off in the distance. That's looking westbound on the interstate there. So Thompson, you guys are seeing that heavy rainfall. We'll go back to radar. And this is exactly what we were just looking at. So very heavy rain, some thunder, some lightning going on there. And that continues. Looks like we got another pocket of heavy rainfall and some small hail likely. The Mayfield area on the border of Hancock and Warren counties. That's a good little thunderstorm there. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning for downtown Aiken, stretching all the way through the Wagner area, then off into the Columbia area. So still some very active rain, but it looks to be lightening up a little bit for downtown Augusta. So that's some good news.
Yeah, and for those that maybe just tuning in here, scrolling your feed, and you saw that we're on and wondering why we're on, there was a tornado near Milledgeville a little while ago. Lots of severe weather headed in our direction. Things have calmed down a little bit in terms of severe wind threat and tornado threat for the time being. Right now we're talking about just the possibility of some very heavy flooding, but nonetheless there is that severe thunderstorm watch for our area until 1 o'clock, and we have had warnings in effect. Still that warning for Aiken, right?
Yes, that goes until, see if when they trim that, sometimes they update, 9:45. So within the next 15 minutes or so. And what they've been doing is, as that storm has been moving further off to the east, they've been kind of eating away at the warning itself.
And that's good, because that allows people to relax. I mean, if the storm has moved past your part of Aiken County, but you're still in the warning, you're still worried and you have no reason to worry. So I am glad they go in and trim that every few minutes to kind of, okay, yeah, I don't live there anymore. And you can kind of, you know, relax, because weather's very scary, I realize, to a lot of folks. And that's a good thing that they do for you.
Yeah, they kind of move it along a little bit so you can kind of breathe for a second.
If you ever get a chance, shoot those guys at the National Weather Service a shout out on their Facebook page or email or something like that, because Anthony and I are not issuing these warnings. We're relaying information. We're capable. We're certified. We could work for the National Weather Service issuing warnings, but that's not our role in the information pipeline. Our role is to give you the facts. Their role is to issue the warnings, and we're just the next man down the line to get the information into your living room and hopefully keep you safe from the weather. But those guys do a lot of work behind the scenes, kind of like the offensive line on a football team. Without them, you couldn't function, but they rarely get the credit they deserve. So National Weather Service, if you happen to be watching our feed, and I got a weird feeling they probably are, thank you, kudos to you. You're doing a great job this morning. And shout out to them. So feel free to go over, maybe like their Facebook page, and leave them a nice comment, because they are working hard out there this morning.
And it looks like they have expired that severe thunderstorm warning that was over Wagner. So the only severe warning that we have in the CSRA is for the Aiken area. This is for Aiken County as well as southern sections of Edgefield County. So if you're in Murphy's Estates or portions of North Augusta that falls on the Edgefield County line, you're definitely still seeing some heavier rainfall right now. We've switched this over to the radar out in Harlem. So this does a good job at just kind of weeding out some of the hype of some of the other radars. So downtown Augusta looking like some very light rainfall right now. So you're getting a good break of those heavier storms, but a lot of more active weather still for portions of Aiken. Very heavy rainfall right now between Aiken, Graniteville. You're seeing some of that. If you continue to the southeast of Aiken going toward Windsor, you're seeing some more steady rain. And Aiken State Park, definitely a good bit of rain, thunder, and lightning. If you're between Aiken and Wagner, you're seeing some very heavy rainfall, probably a lot of lightning, maybe even some small hail as well.
And the National Weather Service, actually the Weather Prediction Center, just issued something effective for our area that you don't see every day, and that is a mesoscale precipitation discussion. And to summarize here, they're saying generally the high-resolution models, guidance and overnight high-res CAM model have been way too slow to initiate and organize this morning's thunderstorms and advance it downstream into the southeast. The alignment of the ongoing activity with the deeper layer mean flow strongly supports training convective cells. And despite the amount of hail occurring with this morning's supercell convection, there have been rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches per hour being observed. And let's see, expect some storm totals over the next 6 hours to reach as high as 3 to 5 inches, given the strong training character of the convection. So our local weather here in eastern Georgia and South Carolina has caught the attention of the national folks at the Weather Prediction Center enough that they're becoming a little bit concerned about some flooding as well, issuing that special mesoscale
Yeah, we don't get
discussion.
the precip ones all that often. I'm going to take down some of these watches that are up right now and just kind of highlight the flash flood watch. So that has been posted for our area. We didn't see that before because the tornado watch and severe thunderstorm watch kind of takes priority, but we do have a flash flood watch from Wilkes County all the way through Johnson County in our western counties there. So like Chris just said, they're getting on board with more of that heavy rainfall as a possibility, and it's just going to be set up where one will kind of take over the next. So that's something that we'll have to kind of keep an eye on, and especially in those areas that flood very easily. Now, we still have that tornado watch in effect for Hancock, Washington, and Johnson counties. That's until about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and then that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for everybody else. And then those western counties, we still have that flash flood watch in effect. We do have an aerial flood advisory for the Augusta area, Columbia County, northern sections of Richmond County, as well as McDuffie County, and we still have that one severe thunderstorm warning in Aiken County and Edgefield County. This will likely get updated a little bit. And, you know, Chris, I'm looking at this little guy near Murphy's Estates right now. That's starting to get a little bit more defined. Let's see if their local radar can get that. And as you can see, as we get a little bit more higher resolution there. So going up South Carolina Highway 230, Little Lane, Stevens Creek Road, seeing some very heavy rainfall there. Definitely a few strokes of lightning out there right now. It looks like the North Augusta area is finally getting a chance to dry out. We saw some very heavy rainfall on the radar not too long ago. Jefferson-Davidson Highway getting closer to Aiken, between Madison and Aiken, seeing some very heavy rain. Let's see, the 6 Point community, the Madison community, Highway 1. Let's see if we can get some other, the Aiken Golf Club. So if you're near that area, expecting some pretty decent returns on radar. And yeah, right now, very heavy rain over the downtown area of Aiken. Let us know what you're seeing out there, and we'll be able to relay some of these reports as well.
Yeah, and the best news I've seen in the past 2 hours since we went on the air for that tornado warning in Hancock County, back into Putnam County a little while ago. The best trend I've seen, and there are still some a few concerning cells along that line going back over there toward the Macon area, but we've seen a decrease in these discrete supercell thunderstorms. So while there is the rotation in some of these storms, we are talking about, you know, maybe the risk of the smaller spin-up tornadoes possibly, rather than the organized supercell. You know, EF2 and higher kind of tornadoes.
Right. I'm curious to see the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. They're the ones that issue all of the severe scale for us. So today, that still remains unchanged. So we still have, actually this might have dropped a little bit in our northern counties. I don't quite remember if we were all in that yellow slight risk, but still a good majority of the CSRA under that level 2. A slight risk for strong to severe storms, and you know that includes the potential for some flash flooding, especially in those areas that have just seen back-to-back showers and storms this morning. I do want to see if they've adjusted.
I'm glad they haven't bumped us into enhanced.
I know, and we did see that in just outside of our areas, southern sections of Georgia. They saw that too. Let me try to pop up one of those specific categories. 1 second, Chris. Severe hail. 1 second, guys. Let me just get all the graphics up. Now the percentages on here. Okay, so that stays the same. So the hail outlook is still that 15%. So that aligns with that level 2 risk. So there's sometimes they'll have different parameters inside of a level 2 risk, but everything right now looks to be about the same there.
And it looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning issued.
Oh, okay.
This thunderstorm warning is for northeastern Barnwell County in central South Carolina, northwestern Bamberg County, and east central Aiken County in central South Carolina, also northwestern Orangeburg County. That goes until 10 o'clock. A severe thunderstorm was located near Aiken State Park, moving or about 14 miles east of Aiken Mall, moving east at 35 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail are radar indicated. So again, damaging hail and marginal severe winds, certainly enough to knock over some trees, are reported. I do not see any kind of tornado tag or anything worse indicated. It looks like a borderline severe storm that maybe on the conservative side, they went ahead and issued that warning for to be safe.
It looks like there might be some broad rotation, but anything that would qualify for a severe tornado warning or anything like that. We'll back this up a little bit there. Definitely some gusty winds. You can see that kind of play out. That line, that red line, indicates some very heavy winds. So this, if we zoom in a little bit more, it's a very rural area there, but Kitchens Mill, the Windsor area, Sally, going through Barnwell County, Healing Springs, just outside of Williston, Blackville, Whaley, also seeing within that severe thunderstorm warning right now. So just expect some very heavy rainfall, lots of thunder and lightning going on, and definitely some pretty strong winds as a possibility there as well. Just going through all of your comments on here right now, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for participating so much. It really helps us as we try to hopefully help you. If nothing else, plan your day. I know a lot of folks probably wanting to head out to church. Who knows, you may be waiting for church to start and you're sneaking in a view. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm sure you have the Bible app on your phone. And you got to stay safe from the weather, even if you are at church or something like that. So, but either way, thank you guys so much for participating this morning. We've been on here for quite a while, and
still got about 75 folks watching us. So
yeah.
Thanks, guys. William, we just saw that you had a little bit of hail, no rain though. What community are you in? Let us know. I'm curious because there's a whole bunch of spots on the map that could have a little bit of hail. So I am curious to see if you were under that new severe thunderstorm warning that got issued.
Who was that comment from?
William.
William, okay, gotcha. Rain
That's
and thunder
interesting,
and
though.
winds or no
that could
hail.
be kind of like just odd if you were just out and about and all of a sudden you just start seeing hail on the ground and no rain to go along with it. That just something seems out of place there. But pretty cool stuff. Let's go to some of our western counties right now. Near Sparta, you're getting hit with a pretty good cell. Some thunder, lightning, some small hail there for sure. Same thing in the Warrenton area. Norris, you're also seeing some heavy rain, some small hail. And we're back in Thompson, Appling area. And northern sections of Columbia County, you guys are definitely seeing some more in the way of decent size precipitation going on. Just checking the camera at my house right now just to see. Doesn't look like anything too crazy. Yeah, not too much going on. I was trying to hear if I could hear like the ping of like hail or anything, but I still don't have that.
Everybody's got a camera these days, usually more than one.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I would imagine, guys, that they're going to be getting rid of this severe thunderstorm warning over Aiken. They'll likely get rid of that pretty soon. That technically expires, I believe it was 9:45. Let me double check that. It is 9:45, so they're going to let that go either for the next couple of minutes or just outright cancel that guy. But we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for eastern areas of Aiken County. Wagner right now, you guys are definitely seeing some pretty heavy rainfall. Some hail is a good possibility, and lots of lightning in that area too. I'm looking at the camera again, and it's picking up in Evans, picking up a little bit.
How are we looking in terms of radar estimates at this point?
Yeah, let's go back to that. So there's just that. I want to start on a wide view. So there's just that line of heavy rainfall that extended all the way through Alabama and has worked its way into the CSRA. So anytime you see green, that's that borderline between 2 and 3 inches of rain. Yellow indicates that we're getting closer to 4 inches a few spots, and we've really only seen that between Eatonton and Milledgeville.
But keep in mind with that it's been raining. It started raining in Eatonton before it did Augusta. So
Correct. Yes.
You can pretty much assume that unless this line repositions itself or weakens substantially, those kind of totals will eventually reach over to the east into our area. Look how heavy the rain's been over south of Atlanta.
No, that's true, and they have.
It's been raining for 6 or 8 hours over toward that area, about how long it's going to rain here. So if none of this weakens, we're going to be talking about a significant amount of rain.
And right now, we only have an aerial flood advisory in effect for the Augusta area, Columbia County, McDuffie County. But look in the Eatonton area we were just talking about, they have flash flood warnings posted from Eatonton all the way through Greenville, Georgia, Manchester, Georgia, and that essentially goes all the way just east of LaGrange. So a very wide area of the state having that flash flood warning in effect. So we're going to have to watch that because all that is going to be streaming into our area. Back-to-back showers and storms could cause some minor flooding, especially in those areas that just flood with any given thunderstorm.
Yeah, absolutely. Before the rain this morning, we are 3.5 inches above average for the year at the Augusta Airport and 4.01 above average at Daniel Field. So with several inches of rain today, we're going to be at least 7 or 8 inches above average for the year once this event is over. And we're only almost 3 months into the year. So
it's going to be a wet one for us, that's for sure.
It's been a wet start to the year. We briefly had a deficit for the month of March. We were having a fairly dry March overall, but that deficit was long erased because it was only less than an inch, and we've had way more rain than that, I would suspect. Although at Augusta Regional Airport, the official rain total, they haven't really gotten the heaviest rain that far to the south. So
it is really interesting when we talk about like the difference between Bush Field and Daniel Field.
Yeah.
I remember sometime last year we had, I believe it was at Daniel Field. I think it was during that hail event that we had, and there was about 4 or 5 inches of rain reported at that airport.
I remember that. Yep.
And then at Bush Field, there was only like a half an inch or something like that. So just the difference in rainfall amounts within a few miles can be very, very different, which is just crazy. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So if we look from Appling to Evans through Thompson, you're seeing very heavy rainfall, but look at Bushfield, not much going on. Hebsva, not much going on there. Even further south, Waynesboro, and then our southern counties, Millen, Sylvania, Swainsboro. It's been a nice day so far. It's been nice and quiet and dry. Yeah. It's just, and that's what we've kind of been talking about the last couple of days. I watched McHale's forecast last night, and he was talking about where this line sets up is going to determine who ends up seeing that worst of the weather, and that's exactly what we've seen throughout the day today. This morning, that line setting up. Okay, some good news. They did cancel that or allow that expire in Aiken County, so that severe thunderstorm warning is now over, but we still have that one warning left over just south of Wagner in Aiken County through northern sections of Barnwell County. So one little storm there is going to be moving out, and then the severe weather is going to be, at least for now, coming to an end, but we will still have the potential of more severe thunderstorms as we go through the rest of the morning and heading into the afternoon. But Chris, like you mentioned, I think we're going to have to start worrying more about a flooding situation than necessarily a severe weather situation. It looks like they did extend that aerial flood advisory now through essentially the same area that severe thunderstorm warning was not too long ago. So aerial flood advisory posted until 1 o'clock this afternoon. That is for downtown Aiken through Wagner and even southern sections of Edgefield County. Let me go back to the time for the Augusta area. That will go until 11:15. So they're expecting more and more rainfall to move through the area. That's why these are posted for a good while. And that one over Aiken it just gives you a sense of what they're expecting for rainfall, because 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that is a good while away to be posted for. So they're expecting all of that rain just to move over their area to just essentially just get dumped on with inches
is this
of water.
vantage point, is this radar particular frame we have set up here, is it set up to plot the surface map on.
It's not, but I can get that pulled up for you.
What's going on this morning, just for you weather enthusiasts out there who may be watching, and if you've been watching us for an hour and a half, I would surmise that you probably are weather. Very front, right along that front, is where this heavy train of rain and even severe thunderstorms has set up. The winds upstairs that tend to guide where surface fronts end up going is lined up pretty much parallel to that front, and that has caused it to stall out. All those wind stream lines you see there coming up off the Gulf of Mexico, sending lots of tropical moisture up and over that, and the front providing that source of lift and even that source of shear that those thunderstorms and especially the tornado needed to form early on. The good news is this is all kind of flattened out a little bit. The rain's killing the instability a little bit and at least minimizing the threat for tornadoes and wind-related severe weather. But flood-related severe weather is severe weather, and that's not letting up anytime soon. But notice the southern counties. I may have to take a road trip to Swainsboro today. It looks like a beautiful
looks like a nice day there right
It'll probably
now.
be in the 80s for a high today.
Actually, temperatures is something to look at too. That'll help really start to define it a little bit. So Evans right now, you're at 61 degrees, but in Swainsboro, it's 72. So already starting to see that discrepancy in those temperatures there. Now, if you get a little bit of energy that might work into those southern counties this afternoon, the atmosphere is primed. It's ready to go. The only reason why it's raining and storming in Augusta is because that's where that boundary is set up. That's your trigger for those storms. But you get one little tiny ripple out there, and you could get some storms to pop up in some of our southern counties. So not ruling it out for you guys either. Right now, the primary area that we're looking at is over the central northern half of the viewing area. We've been talking about that stationary boundary. I have this set up where we have what's known as our 700 millibar, or 700 level of the atmosphere there. So that's where we have all of our steering currents. So if you think of yourself driving your car down the highway, it's these winds acting like the steering wheel, and it's taking the rain in the direction that it's moving. So I'm gonna get rid of the surface map there, and I'm also gonna see if I can hide some of the rain that's going on, just to show you guys the actual wind direction itself. Let me see if I can also turn off the lightning parameter there. So all of that is currently coming directly out of, looks like they're the southwest. So that gives us a good sense of where that boundary is gonna be moving. Now, if I go through and add everything back in, now I've got to remember which things to click back on.
Another thing going on here that you can see in that vantage point you're looking at, there's also no convection south of here to block that flow of moisture from making its way up from the Gulf of Mexico. So sometimes if you get a really tall line of thunderstorms downstream of your area, it'll inhibit severe weather. And weather like we're seeing this morning, because the wind has to kind of try to flow through that to get to you. But we don't have anything south of us to shield all that moisture flux from coming into the area.
Looks like we got another good little cell with probably some decent size hail. This is between Mitchell and Worthen, Georgia. So we're seeing that there between Washington County going up through Gibson, that area there, Glasscock County. So seeing some good cell activity for sure. I'm trying to see. And still the same thing right over Columbia County, Evans to Grovetown to Appling. Very heavy rainfall going on right now. Let's see, we'll zoom in and get some roads up here. So it looks like Columbia Road, looks like very heavy rainfall there. Hereford Farm Road, that kind of loops around there. That's that one in the middle of the screen. Lewiston Road right there at Grovetown, the Grovetown exit of I-20. Very heavy rainfall right now. Let's go outside again. We haven't been checking in on those cameras in a while. Let's see how everything's doing. Grovetown, you're still wet, that's for sure. Let's move the camera around a little bit here. I wonder if the internet connection went bad with some of these guys. Hold on. That's Beach Island. Walton Way looks to be a little bit brighter right now. That is some good news for us. Let's switch this over to our downtown preset. Well, that sky looks a little bit better. Before we could hardly make out the Augusta skyline there, but now we're starting to clear things up, at least a little bit.
And that can be important to even get a short break in the rain as far as flash flooding, because it,
Oh, yeah.
it gives some of that runoff a chance to run off and quit piling
100%.
up for a few minutes. So that brighter scene there is certainly good news.
For sure.
Now, tell us which camera we are looking at here.
So this is the downtown camera. So this is,
Okay.
you got the Calhoun Expressway in front of you. Underneath that is, the name just escaped me. Boy, hold on. St. Sebastian Way, that's it. And then Enterprise Mill is going to be off on the left side of the screen. North Augusta out there in the distance, you can see the old TV tower from our old station there in North Augusta. So that is looking right off to the east. So some more convective looking clouds, a little bit more dynamic off there in the distance. I kind of circle that here with the mouse. Mm-hmm. But an interesting look. Nice, a little bit quieter. That's what we like to see. Let's go back outside. This is right outside of our building here, Riverwatch Parkway, exit 200 on I-20. That's actually looking up toward the northwest, so that's looking toward Columbia County. Definitely some more ominous dark skies out there right now. And we'll go back to Grovetown and see if I can, I'll zoom out this camera a little bit more, and I'll switch this. See what we can see. Looks like we still have some ponding there on Lewiston Road. We'll zoom in on that with some of the folks kind of traveling there. It's in the construction zone, so that does make things a little bit harder to drain, which is why you always want to make sure you're not driving through very deep water. If the road is flooded, if you can't see the bottom of it, don't drive through it. You don't know if the road is washed out or not. So never drive through a flooded roadway.
Things certainly looking better there in Grovetown. So
yeah. You can really see that heaviest of that rainfall off there to the to the east. Now this is the Wheeler Road camera. This is looking at Wheeler Road, and right now the lights are flashing. So there might have been a few power outages reported in that area. You can see there those flashing lights. And remember, if you get to an intersection and you're seeing flashing lights, you want to treat it like a stop sign. So you don't.
Pet peeve of mine.
What was that?
Pet peeve. Nobody.
Oh yeah, pet peeve. No, 100%.
Do not do this the way they need to.
100%. I think this guy is doing it right there. He stopped there for a second. Let's see if this next guy.
Just because you're on Washington Road and not a side street doesn't mean you have the right of way and don't need to slow down. It is a four-way stop sign when the traffic light is out. If more people would go by that, we would not have nearly as many accidents out there.
And this is because, let's see if they'll do it. Let's see if they do it.
No, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. Get rid of this autofocus. So yeah, you guys need to treat this like a stop sign. They are not treating this like a stop sign. They're not not doing it the right way.
I mean, at least give it the California stop or something.
Or I'll call it the northeast stop, where it's a kind of more like a yield than a stop. But
exactly.
At an intersection, you want to treat it like a stop sign. All right, it does look like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's up right now. Let's go to that, if we can. Come on, computer. There we go. All right, so we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for downtown Augusta, stretching through Columbia County as well as McDuffie County. So we're just going to keep doing this game as we go through the rest of this morning. And you know what, guys? I wouldn't be surprised if they issued another severe thunderstorm warning for Glasscock County. If you're in Gibson right now, get ready for some very heavy rain and the possibility of some small hail. We do have one severe thunderstorm warning, two technically severe thunderstorm warnings in the CSRA. One for Aiken County, Barnwell County, the other for the Augusta metro area. Let's see here. So yeah, severe thunderstorm warning for, I guess this technically moves into portions of Aiken County as well. But Aiken, Columbia, McDuffie, Richmond County, that is until 10:30, so another half hour on this severe thunderstorm warning. Let's see what they highlight here. So they still are emphasizing the potential of winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail. So that minimum requirement for the severe thunderstorm warning. But still, you want to take that pretty seriously, because that can cause some damage if it's just in that right spot. Let's see. Impacts, yeah, damage to vehicles is going to be a possibility, and then any kind of gusty winds associated that will also cause some issues there.
And we haven't been seeing the radar, not the radar, the tornado stamp added on.
No, and that's
or did
some
I
good
jinx
news.
us? Okay.
Nope.
But yeah, we haven't been seeing that for the past couple of hours. An hour ago, hour and a half ago, almost every thunderstorm warning had a little footnote basically saying could be a tornado.
And one of the things that's when we would be in, if this was a tornado situation, we would have some warmer temperatures. But the good news with all this rainfall, it really helps to stabilize the atmosphere a little bit more.
Yep.
So you're not going to have that necessarily tornadic convection situation. Now you're still having enough convection to have a severe thunderstorm, but not just that rotation that would end up seeing a tornado warning for. So if there is a silver lining to all this rain, it kind of helps eliminate the tornado threat a little bit. Now, you can still have some discrete cells forming. That's something that we'll have to watch. So like places like Gibson, you're seeing a little bit discrete cell, but this is more of a hail
breaks in
threat.
that line, really the southwest corner of those breaks, the little jagged breaks along that main line, those are the places where you can get the rotation, the tornado to form on the tail end of those breaks. No indication that's going on out there, but that pattern still is there, still something to watch. But it really seems like the severe threat, especially in terms of tornadoes, has, I won't say it's gone away, but it has decreased. And hopefully that is a good sign of things to come. A few hours ago when I came into work this morning, it wasn't a line like this. It was very well defined clusters of thunderstorms, and those were supercell thunderstorms. I don't think we're looking at supercells here. We're looking at just a what they call it, a QLCS, quasi-linear convective system, I think is what that stands for. College was a long time ago. It's quasi-linear.
Quasi-linear. Oof, I'm getting flashbacks to my dynamics class right now. Oof. All right, so let's see. I want to pull back the radar a little bit here. So it looks like we have not severe thunderstorm warnings, but this is kind of what they put out when things are non-severe, but they're still impactful. So we have special weather statements on that thunderstorm in Gibson, Norris, Sparta, and then the Augusta area as well. Those are those little outlines that you see just outside those little black outlines. So we do have that special weather statement. Let's see the one near Gibson. We can highlight that one. That goes until 10:30, and the possibility there of 3/4 inch size hail. So nickel size hail, more or less. Nickel size to quarter size, with quarter size being that 1 inch in diameter. But still, winds. Now, when we talk about severe wind with a thunderstorm, that's winds of about 58 to 60 miles per hour. That's their threshold. Anything above that is going to be classified as severe. So this comes in just under severe. They have the tag there for wind being winds 40 to 50, and we would need winds about 60 or more to be classified as severe. So definitely still pretty breezy associated with that. Up to penny-size hail is going to be a possibility there. Lots of cloud-to-ground lightning, as well as heavy rainfall, which could cause some minor flooding. Let's look at the special weather statement for Glasscock, Hancock, and Warren County. That also goes until 10:45, and the same classification there being penny-size hail is a possibility and winds between about 40 and 50 miles per hour. So just going to say, kind of just see more of this as we go through the rest of this morning. Into the afternoon, things get maybe a little bit squirrely again as those temperatures start to warm up, especially those southern counties. Any little bit of energy that moves, or if the boundary maybe sinks a little bit further to the south or just moves around a little bit, that could cause some additional issues. So we're just going to be watching this as we go through the rest of this morning, and Mikkel and I will most likely be watching this later on into the afternoon. We'll give Chris a little bit break. He's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Or you can stick around. I'd love for you to stick around.
Dusting off the rust. It's been a while since I did this kind of coverage, so yeah.
All right, let's see. What's interesting to me, Chris, is when we look at some of the stuff from central Georgia, that flash flood warning that we have there, a lot of that rainfall has moved a little bit south. So that line could be kind of meandering from the north to the south, maybe moving around a little bit from the initial wave that came through earlier. If I'll back this up a little bit more, and you can kind of see in the last, from like 9:30 on, it's 10 o'clock right now, the last half hour, it's really looked like that little bit has kind of pushed off to the south. Can you see that?
Uh-huh. Take us all the way back the full 3 hours and
Full 3? Yeah.
see how the overall pattern of the rain has gone from areas of thunderstorms to a continuous line the whole way.
The whole thing, yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell just because there's so much noise, all this little extra bit that's kind of thrown around. Let me see if I can change that. I know there's a setting on here that I can adjust. Hold on one second. I think that'll help kind of get rid of some of that noise going on. I'll also get rid of the satellite view, and I'll get rid of some of the warnings. We don't really care about that for this conversation, at least. And I'll get rid of the lightning. That can be distracting, too. There you go, Chris.
If only the real weather worked like that.
Let's just get rid of this. We'll get rid of that.
Weather's great, but
this,
let's
that,
get
the
rid
other
of the
thing.
lightning.
Bam, just like that, we turned it
Hey,
off.
it's gone. Now that's a superpower to have. Uh-oh.
All right, it looks like we got another warning. That's why I need to keep the warnings on. All right, let's see what they have here. Okay, so we were talking about that warning, Glasscock County, Gibson, seeing that right now coming in. We'll go to the latest frame here, and I will, let me get out of this and go back so I can get back to our regular settings here. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning now for northern sections of Jefferson County, southern sections of Warren County, Glasscock County. That's where that severe thunderstorm warning is right now. And this goes until 10:30. This has a little bit bigger of a hail there, so 1.25 inches, so a little bit larger than quarter size there. So it's, was that more or less $half size, between $half and dollar, $half
Something like that.
something like that.
Something.
Hold on, we had that hail chart a minute ago. Hold on, let's see where this kind of
Maybe a
falls.
Canadian quarter.
A Canadian, not the Canadian quarter.
I don't ever get Canadian change, and well, we don't get change anymore. I guess.
Well, that's true
why,
too. You ever been over to? Now we're getting way off topic, but have you ever been over to England and having to go with the pound coin? It's just a really
not.
thick.
It's thick though.
coin.
I'm
and
a coin collector, but we're not
cool,
going to
but,
really
like-
go off tangent. But yes, those
Way
things are
off.
very, very cool. I have a few probably at my parents' house.
It's just odd. You know, we're used to
It
just
is.
like bills and stuff, and then all of their money over there, it's plastic money too. Now we're way off topic.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So 1.5 inches would be ping pong size. So this is between 1/4 ping pong size hail is a possibility there. That will cause some issues for your
Yeah,
windshield if your
does.
car is just out there in the driveway or the parking lot or wherever your car is. If it's outside, if it's in that area, it could be a little bit squirrely. So yeah, make sure you're covering up the car. Make sure you're bringing it in the carport, or if you have some free space in the garage. There we go. 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, one for Gibson area, the other for the Augusta Metro, from Augusta through Columbia County. And we have been getting your pictures that you guys have been sending in on the weather app. We do really appreciate that. Just starting to look at some of these right now. Looks like we got a little video sent in from Harlem. This is from Allison Norton. So Allison, thank you for sending that in. I'm gonna watch this right now, and then we'll be able to kind of post this. So yeah, showing, ooh, we got a good flash of lightning on there too. We'll be able to share these videos and these pictures with you guys shortly, so that everyone can see. But yeah, we've had some pretty interesting weather. Let's see. I'll get the sound working a little bit later on, but yeah, keep sending in all the pictures, guys. We'd love to see them.
Yeah, it is informational. When you're one of us sitting in a studio, I can't see a window for where I'm at. And I certainly can't see Rens, Georgia right now. So I can see what's on the radar screen. So that gives us a visual picture of the real conditions outside. So it's not just us wanting you to boost our Facebook numbers or something like that by commenting with a photo. This is real information. If it's significant, we pass it on to the Weather Service, and they use it to verify warnings. They issue a warning, thunderstorm warning for Columbia County, but for statistical purposes, for research purposes, they need to know if severe weather really happened. They track their false alarm rate. A lot of useful things for photos, storm reports, even if they're verbal, commented here. We do pass along the ones of note to the Weather Service when needed. And I know they find it very, very helpful. That research helps us do better forecasting in the future, do
Absolutely.
a better job of issuing warnings and that kind of thing. So you're our eyes on the ground, and we do appreciate that out there, especially on a morning like this morning.
Mm-hmm. All your comments on Facebook, very helpful, because now we're able to say with confidence that when we see little specks of white on the screen, that is a good sign that we're seeing some hail. So the more reports that you guys can send is very, very helpful for us, and we do appreciate that.
Here's something we haven't shown folks this morning, water vapor imagery. What this does is it literally, these are not clouds you're looking at, it's measuring the amount of water vapor in the mid and high levels of the atmosphere. And notice the bright blues there across Alabama, central Georgia into our area, but notice also in the last hour, it's weakening. That moisture flux is decreasing a bit.
That's some good news.
And that should mean that over time, this line of heavy rain now over the area should get weaker and weaker and weaker. And we have seen that. We're not talking the very powerful supercells that literally when I got here between Georgia and Mississippi, there were probably 30 different thunderstorm warnings in effect at any given time. And now we're down to just one or two along the entire streak of heavy rain and thunderstorms. So hopefully this image right here is promising, and maybe the intensity of the rain will be decreasing in response to the decrease in the amount of water vapor. It's also spreading out. It's not confined to that narrow line. Look at it kind of expand out into a big blob. Mm-hmm. So hopefully things will start to lose organization. The rain's going to kind of spread out and maybe settle into just a light rain over the next couple of hours rather than the torrential train of downpours we've been looking at for a solid 3 hours now. Some areas have been getting just torrential rain and even pockets of rough winds and the hail this morning.
Yeah, some good size hail out there. We had that, really, if I'm trying to think, from pretty much a good majority of the CSRA, especially the central areas. You know, we're talking about Aiken. We've gotten a lot of reports from Columbia County too of, you know, maybe not severe size hail, but still something that will get your attention for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to go through some of the comments on here. I haven't checked these in a minute, so I'm sorry if these are a little bit old. Mary Grovetown saying some small hail. She said about 15 minutes ago, that might have been a half hour ago. So I appreciate you, Mary, for posting what you guys are seeing out there. We had Sydney saying, wow, some very heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. A little bit lighter now, exit 172 out there on I-20. So we appreciate you guys letting us know what you guys are seeing. Zach out there in Windsor saying no hail, but seeing some rain and definitely hearing all of that thunder. Does look like some good news, though. It looks like they did allow that severe thunderstorm warning in Aiken County. All of that has now been allowed to expire. Just having that severe thunderstorm warning over the Augusta area, as well as the Gibson area, seeing all of that right now. It looks like, Chris, if you don't mind, can you zoom into the Augusta area real quick?
Sure thing.
I'm just hearing the thunder here at the station. Can I hop on that computer real quick? Absolutely. I'm just going to try to pull up our camera here at the station. And I would jump back to the traffic light situation there that we were talking about on Wheeler Road. Remember, that's a flashing red light. I hope they're not watching. Don't watch the Facebook live stream.
Well, if they're
while
running
you're
through
driving.
traffic lights, they may be watching. I've digressed.
Flashing red lights, guys. That is a four-way stop sign. That's how you need to treat that. Mm-hmm. Do not keep driving. If it was flashing yellow, that's different. It's flashing red. Treat it as a stop sign. All right. Enough of the driving school. Let's take a look around the rest of the region. Trying to go Downtown Augusta, not quite. Riverwatch I-20, here we go. Right outside of our station, definitely seeing some of that heavy rainfall coming down. We'll zoom in a little bit there, the intersection. It does look like we got some good water out there on the roadways. Maybe some light ponding going on too. Let's see this guy coming in.
Yep. It's a good bit of water out there.
Good bit of water there for sure. Let's see what else we got.
Now, I don't mean to turn this into a driving school, but another tip when you do encounter water like that, if you feel the car start to hydroplane, they tell you do not slam on the brakes. You just let off the gas pedal and let the car kind of slow down on its own rather than braking heavily. That can cause you to go ahead and go into a spin. The other thing, I don't know how true it is, I've always heard not to use cruise control if it's raining heavily too, because...
No, because your car, if you start to, swerve a little bit, if you feel yourself hitting that water, your car is still like, well, hey, you told me to go 65, so I'm going to be going 65, and you don't want to be going that fast in a wet situation like that. So never have the cruise control on while it's wet roadways. If we're talking about winter weather, that's never the case to do that either. Use cruise control on a nice sunny, dry day. If the pavement is wet, it's not a good time to be using that.
Yeah, and we talk so much about hurricanes and tornadoes and blizzards, all kinds of severe weather. The number one weather killer is actually flash flooding.
Yep.
It's not tornadoes, it's not lightning. It's flash flooding, and I don't know the percentage, a lot. We'll just say it's a lot. Of those deaths are completely preventable because it's usually related to a car going through a flooded area. And it's very dangerous, it's very tempting, you're in a hurry, it doesn't look deep, but especially if there's moving water. Moving water moves things, and if it's moved the road out from under you, there may be a 10-foot gully underneath what used to be the road, and when you drive off, you just drove off a cliff, the moving water moves you into deep water, and you're in deep trouble. So,
well, I remember a couple years back now, in some of our western counties, we had a big heavy rain event, and it actually ended up taking out that entire roadway. So you have like a little pipe that goes under the road, and it washed out the entire pipe. You saw it kind of get shot out underneath the roadway. Then the whole roadway collapsed.
Yeah.
It's just something you don't want to mess with. So yeah, just make sure you're using some street smarts as you're going out and about.
Yeah, you see that happen a lot. I think there's a certain way that the water lines up in those pipes under a road. That is a lot of how the road washes out, is somehow those pipes become buoyant and they lift up the pavement as they're trying to get their way to the top of the water.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
the end result is no road and a very dangerous situation. So when you're out and about during heavy rain like this, just keep that in the back, if not the front of your mind, out there on the roads.
100%. Here's a live look outside over Beach Island. I'm moving the camera around.
Cloud.
A little shelfie that's out there. It stretches
Not
through
a selfie, a shelfie.
a shelfie.
Yes.
This stretches through a good chunk of the skyline. This is looking up toward Aiken. That's over here in the more brighter area right now. But as we move the camera back off to the south and west there, really can see that shelf cloud starting to develop. So indicating some very breezy conditions, very gusty winds. Some heavy rainfall as a good solid possibility. This actually, let me see if I go through our Grovetown camera now. Still looking like some wet conditions there, some ponding on the roadways, Lewiston Road. I want to see, and no one's still going. Everyone's still running those red flashing lights. Make sure you're treating that as a four-way intersection. Downtown Augusta, this is the camera I wanted to see. The internet connection may not be that good on that camera right now. We'll go back to our camera. There's Beach Island, Riverwatch. So that is, this is what I wanted to see, that very heavy rain that's starting to move in right now. I wanted to get that shelf cloud moving over downtown Augusta. It looks like I just missed it there. We might have to try, let's try the Wheeler Road camera. No one, it's just running those flashing red lights. Oh, yeah. I think this is be the best that we're going to be able to do, Chris. Yeah. That is some I wish that we had a little windshield wipers on these
Yeah,
cameras. I've seen
I'll
some
put you
cameras
in
that have
charge of
that.
climbing up there and installing it.
Yeah, you go ahead, climb the 750-foot tower, and add a little windshield
There are
wiper guy
people
in
that
there.
do that for a living and get paid really good money for doing so. I'm not that guy.
You could not pay me enough to climb that tower.
No.
On any day. It could be a nice, sunny, calm day, no wind. I'm not doing it. Sorry. I know that our chief engineer, though, he said that tower actually has an elevator on it that can take you up there. But still, nope, not a shot. Not a shot.
But those red light bulbs on the tower, there are people who do that for a living, and they risk their life. I'm sure they're harnessed and that kind of thing, but that's a dangerous job.
That's
and some
crazy.
TV towers are as high as 2,000 feet.
Oh, yeah, you go out west where it's really, really flat and there's no high point. They have to make those towers just extremely tall.
I want to say they get paid like $1,000 a foot or something to climb the
You
tower.
would need,
it's
like,
a lot.
That way you said $1,000 a foot?
Yeah,
That's
not
piquing my
enough.
interest a little bit there. I still don't think that's enough, but.
That's only $2,000.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, no, I changed my mind. Nope, still not happening.
All right, back on topic.
Back on
I'm
topic.
sorry.
We'll talk about the
It's
weather.
Facebook. It's Facebook.
What do you guys think? Would you guys climb a TV tower for $2,000? I'm not.
I saw that survey actually on social media several years
okay.
ago. How much would it take for you to climb a TV tower? And you know, for those not scared of heights, probably not much.
They're probably loving it. Me? Nope. I get nervous when we went up, did some drone shots on the roof of our building here, and just like looking out toward the highway, knees starting to shake a little bit. All right, we got some heavy rainfall moving into the Augusta area. Downtown Augusta, definitely some heavy rain. We just saw that looking at the cameras outside. From North Augusta, right along the Savannah River, seeing some heavy rain. Still under that severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 or so. I could likely see them cutting this a little bit too, maybe trimming it down. Especially, I would imagine they would kind of cut this into this kind of general area here, maybe even moving that aerial flood advisory too. So we'll have to see what they kind of decide to do. I'm actually going to go, I'm hearing some more dings over there, Chris. I'm going to go check that out real quick.
Okay. But yeah, we are talking about lots of heavy rain right there inside the Bobby Jones Beltway, if you will, heaviest rain off to the north of Hephzibah. But southern Richmond County, really not seeing too much in the way of rainfall so far. And while I'm talking here, while you're looking at the radar, I want to check on, just see how much rain's been falling at the Augusta Airport. It's probably not near as much as most of the area has gotten, but yeah, whatever the case, flooding is our main threat at this point in time. Still those borderline strong to severe thunderstorms. I hear something else coming in now. Sometimes those buzzers from the Weather Service, sometimes they're good news. It's a sign they're maybe canceling something or something like that. But Anthony is checking on that. I'm going to give us a time lapse here. And you see really that rain, even the lightning increasing there west of Hephzibah. When the lightning increases, that's the sign there is strength, but I don't see any bow or hooking to that thunderstorm. So we're not going to be talking about a tornadic thunderstorm, hopefully not even severe, but it is within that polygon. So they may definitely trim that back, as Anthony was saying, and keep that into effect. As we query the data here, we are looking at that severe thunderstorm with 1-inch hail. That's radar indicated. We don't have reports of 1-inch hail. 1 inch is the size of a quarter. That is the smallest size for severe weather reporting. And the winds right there up to 60 miles per hour. The threshold is 58 miles per hour for you weather buffs out there. That is not an arbitrary made up number. It may kind of sound like that. Actually, the threshold for severe weather is 50 knots. And 50 knots is equal to about 57.5 miles per hour. So you round that up to 58, and there you have it. A severe thunderstorm warning is issued when the winds are 50 8 miles per hour. But if we have that going on in this thunderstorm, it is definitely borderline, but with that chance of the hail there, that may very well be the main reason for that warning.
Chris, we're getting in some viewer video right now. If you guys want to put that up on the screen, I believe this is the one out of Harlem from a little bit earlier, so you can kind of see there, you can kind of hear it, little pinging a little bit, and there was some good flashes of lightning and thunder. I hear the thunder in there too, so thank you guys for sending in all the video. We've really appreciated you guys commenting on Facebook, and yeah, just keep sending us more. If you have any pictures of the hail, we'd love to see that too. And guys downstairs, let us know if there's any other video that you want to show too. I believe this is from the same location. So you can really hear the heavy rainfall there off in the distance, the thunder. You even could see some flashes of lightning from earlier too. There we go, guys. Some viewer video out of the Harlem area. So we thank you guys for showing that video to us. Any kind of images that you could forward our way, we'd love to see that, especially some of those hail pictures. We've seen a couple so far today. Lauren, have you guys gotten some of those pictures yet? No, not yet. Okay, we're still working on getting those. But we have seen them. We do appreciate you guys sending those to us, and keep sending them to us, of course, if it's safe to. I do want to just mention something from the National Weather Service chat. So we have been keeping an eye on that, and it looks like we have gotten some hail reports in the Grovetown area. I believe the Grovetown area. Let me pull up the storm reports here. And there we go. So we have 2 hail reports out of the Grovetown area. Let's see what we got here for the first one. So it looks like from Grovetown, hail size about 1 inch. So that's quarter size hail reported via social media in the Grovetown area. And it looks like they did have an old report there. But this is the corrected version of it. Let's see what this one is too. Also 1 inch hail on Meadow Drive out there in Grovetown. Again, confirming they're 1 inch in diameter. That was back at 9/12. So that was when a lot of you guys were telling us, you know, we've seen seeing hail on the ground, seeing some small hail, seeing some large hail. So thank you guys for sending in all those reports. It does help when the National Weather Service can see all of that. That will go back to their forecast, and that will go looking into stuff they can do for the future and for active warnings out there. So they definitely appreciate that, and so do we. Looks like Fort Gordon, you guys are seeing some very, very heavy rainfall. Part of Fort Gordon there included in that aerial flood advisory. So just going to keep an eye on that as we go through the rest of the day, really. Let's see anything else that we have. It looks like, Chris, a lot of that is starting to sink further to the south. So we did have that that flash flood warning from Eatonton through Milledgeville. Now a lot of that heavy rainfall is sinking further to the south. So places like Sandersville, Wrightsville, Swainsboro, Waynesboro, those areas that have stayed relatively dry so far, you will have that potential maybe to see some rainfall. And because you guys have warmed up a little bit more than others, maybe seeing a little bit more convection. So something to watch as we go through the rest of the day. So kind of keep that in mind as you're making plans.
But we did issue the first alert weather day for this morning through roughly 11 o'clock was when we were thinking the main severe threat would be coming through. Now there is a possibility we'll start to watch as we transition out of this event toward later on today and into tonight for the possibility of a second round of some stronger weather. So that will be something to look for. And I haven't had time to really look at a lot of that information for the past couple of hours and some of the 8 a.m. Model runs, but some of that could come in overnight tonight. So before you go to bed tonight, make sure your First Alert Weather app, number one, is downloaded on your phone if it's not already. If you're old school and have a weather radio, hey, turn that thing on, and I believe your phone will get a tornado warning, so just make sure your phone is on before you go to bed. And that will hopefully wake you up in the event there's ever overnight weather, severe weather like possibly could be tonight. We're still kind of fine tuning what to expect there. Just know that there is that possibility for a secondary round of weather a little bit later on into tonight.
And one more thing real quick, we're going to be getting off Facebook here in just a second, but we do have a flash flood warning issued now for Hancock as well as Warren County. So just kind of keeping with that trend of all of this rain moving into the area, we're going to get more and more rainfall over the next several hours. Let's see when this goes until. So this goes all the way through 4:30 this evening. So we're going to keep a close eye on those warnings as we continue on through the morning and into the afternoon. We'll, of course, let you know about severe weather and those rainfall totals. Yeah, right now that rainfall is really starting to stack up. Let's go through there. Close to 4 inches of estimated rainfall between on the Hancock and Warren County line. So more and more rainfall is going to be moving into the area, and we're also going to watch that potential for some flash flooding there. Real quick, one more graphic I want to just pull up there is to see, I'm just curious if the Weather Prediction Center has increased our storm flood threat here. Let's see if they've added that. Just barely into some of our western counties. That's kind of where everything is lined up right now. So we'll keep an eye on that for the rest of the day.
To give you an idea of how feast or famine this is, Augusta Regional Airport, care to take a guess how much they've had in the past, well, since midnight?
Since midnight, all right, so they've been on the southern side of things. So I'm going to guess a few tenths of an inch to a quarter an inch.
0.26.
0.26. How about Daniel Field?
0.36. So they've had a third of an inch.
Wow.
10 miles away, a few inches of rain.
We don't have any, I was trying to think if we had any other official reports so far. I'm waiting for that Daniel Field one to update again because they should be getting up there a little bit more. I don't know if we have any official spots in Grovetown or maybe some of our western counties. But I'll go back to the Appling area. Looks like they had a little bit there. Close to 3 inches of estimated rainfall amounts. Sometimes the hail will end up tricking the radar into thinking it rained more. But we'll let you guys know more rain totals as we go through the day. And if you guys have any more questions about the forecast, of course, feel free to message us here on Facebook or shoot us an email, message us on Twitter. Love to answer all the questions for you guys. We're going to keep you updated on the forecast as we continue on through this morning. So if anything pops up, we'll be sure to let you guys know about it. But that is going to do it for Chris and I here on Facebook Live, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for all your participation this morning.
Have a great day. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mikhail Hannah Harding will have the latest tonight at, I believe, 6 o'clock, and possibly right here on Facebook. So watch your news feed for that. Have a great day.
See you, everybody.